if you recognize where we are on the world's clock, we are in the midst of a complete shift in how the world operates. The economic structures are changing faster than what we're learning in school, and because of that, we have to understand the new paradigm. In this global economy, we're moving away from national boundaries, as we know it, to corporate oligarchs, where corporations control the means of productions, corporations control the resources, and corporations control the labor. And the national boundary lines no longer matter. When workers in Canton, Mississippi are paid less than workers in Japan to work for the same company, and the workers in Japan have the right to organize a union, but the workers in Canton are not unionized, that tell you that Mexico is not the only cheap labor country. Mississippi is also a cheap labor country. And that Nissan is one of the many corporate oligarchs that workers don't have rights. So it's in that context that we have to begin to look at what will that mean to working class Mississippians, what would that mean to African Americans. In that context, we begin to look at what are the alternative economic structures that can be beneficial. Now mind you, entrepreneurship in the capitalist system, people talk about, well, that's the way to go. Truth be told, the majority of people, black, white, green, and yellow, will be workers. I don't care how you slice the bread, there will always be more workers than there will be owners. For me, the question is, how do workers have voice? How do they have input? How do they ensure that the quality of their workspace, the compensation they receive, the quality of life they live is something that's ethical and tied directly to the work they put in? Worker cooperatives is one of the things we begin to look at. Organizing labor unions is another. Unionization becomes important because with corporations, they give them an instant voice on how they're treated in workspace, the compensation they receive, and the quality of life they will have. But another program we began to study is this whole cooperative movement. Now, for me, I'll be honest with you, I had no concept about it. For the program, we talked about this thing that was taking place in Cleveland Heights. It's called the Evergreen Worker Cooperative. For a community right in the shadows of this huge hospital complex, there were a few people who organized, and they went and they met with the hospital to leverage and say, listen, you all are washing clothes every day. If we organize and laundry, can we get you to commit to allow us to launder all your goods? And in that, all of those workers became owners of that laundromat where the hospital sent to the goods. Now, over a period of time, in addition to their salary, which is a good livable salary, they have an equity stake in the company. So as the company grows, guess what happened to their net worth? It grows. So as we looked at that, we said, well, where does concept come from? And it was based on a worker cooperative system in Montreal, Spain. What was unique about this, and Dr. Mari and I went, we had no concept of the political context in which it was operating. Here you have an area of the country of people, the Basque people. Now the Basques were the minority in Spain, and they were treated as such. Like black folks are the minority in this country and have been treated as such. But over 40 years ago, they created a system of self-sufficiency and survival. And through that cooperative, that system, they established a university. And from that university, 4 of the students said, you know what, we need to work together and establish a company. And the principle of the cooperative was that every worker had an equal voice in how the company was run. Now you project out 40 years. We're talking about the Montreal Corporation. When we were there, they said it had 83,000 employees, 120 cooperatives. They are in 4 different sectors of business. The second largest grocery store in the country is owned by the workers. The second largest credit union is owned by the workers. The largest appliance store is owned by the appliance company, manufacturer, in the country of Spain I'm talking about, is owned by the workers. They grow their own food through an agriculture program that's owned by the workers, and all of the decisions are made by the workers. So guess what happens? When there's a profit, the workers decide how the profits are split. When the economy goes down and it slows down, the workers decide how to address the issue, and nobody who's employed by Montreal and bad companies have been laid off, although Spain is going through its worst economic situation in the history of the country, where people are being laid off all across Spain, except with the cooperative. It is an alternative economic structure that I think we really need to pay close attention to. Now, this is the problem. We have to say the black community, some of y'all are saying, you know, black folks can't get along. They don't want to live together. And somebody talk about a lot. That is the biggest untruth I've ever heard. Because for me to get to my office to here, I've passed several churches. And every last one of them I passed within the last 10 years, they've built new or they've added to the structure. Now, that's not a cooperative. I don't know what is. Folks go to church on Sunday, they put their money in the collection plate. Within whatever decision-making process of the denomination, people serve on boards. They determine how the money is going to be spent, and they're building. That's a cooperative. What is going to take place very soon is going to be a class struggle. It is already becoming a class struggle. And many individuals, if we're not organized, are going to be on the wrong side of that struggle, the wrong side of the losing end. Because once people get control of the water, as government is deregulating the air is not clean, and because so much of the food that we eat are artificial food, even what we think are fresh vegetables are generated from seeds that are not natural seeds. Yeah. We're going to be in a situation that we're going to be on the wrong side of the class struggle. If workers don't organize within existing corporations, if communities don't organize cooperatives where they run their own businesses, what we thought was bad during and before the civil rights movement is only going to get worse. And if you understand history, towards the end of King's life, he was no longer talking about the things he talked about in 1963. He was talking about organized labor. Towards the end of Malcolm's life, as he took that second trip to Africa, he slowly began to realize that all of the African nations and all of the Arab nations, they were in the middle of an economic paradigm shift, a struggle about money. And government is about money. And we have to determine how we're going to be governed. And the only way we can do that is